Welcome to today's what is let's see, what episode are we on? Guys, we are all the way up to episode 16 of the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. I'm super excited that you're here. And more importantly, I'm excited about our special guest today. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn. Now, I know, I get it. I know LinkedIn is not uber sexy. It's not the shiny object, although I would argue that today it is the shiny object. It seems like there is so much more interest in LinkedIn these days. And why is that? Like, seriously, I think you're going to love our special guest today. I'm going to introduce her to you in just a moment. She is a true LinkedIn expert. She's been on LinkedIn forever. And so I can't wait for her to share her story about how she got started with LinkedIn. But as with all of the Marketing That Grows Your Business shows, we do some giveaways. So I want you guys to win some stuff. And the way you win some stuff is to drop in your aha moments. And the things that we're giving away today are a ring light, so that you can put it on your phone and always have great lighting for your selfies. And the second thing is we are giving away a little cover for your webcam so you can spy on you. I mean, clever, right? In case somebody is spying on you. I think that's a big thing these days. And I think it's a big thing because you got a lot of people home, being devious, honestly, right? You got a lot of people are Zoom bombing. They're certainly probably keying into and hacking into people's cameras. So let's just block those folks off, right? And then our sponsor is for today's show is Easil.com. So Easil is gifting 3 winners with a 3-month trial of a full trial, so you can get all the bells and whistles of Easil.com. If you're not familiar with Easil.com, it's a tool that is a graphic design tool. What I personally love about Easil and why I highly recommend it is because their templates are pre-designed by graphic designers, professional graphic designers, and they are amazing. So literally you can log in, sign up for an account, log in, and you will find some amazing content that literally you don't have to do a whole lot to. All you have to do is download and post it on your social channels. So from that perspective, I really, really love it. I think you'll love it as well. And for those who are brand new to today's show or never been on one of my shows before, drop in new. I'd love to know who you are. And for the oldies but goodies, how are you today? If you've been on my shows before, I always like to engage and talk with you guys. Good morning, Latoya. I'm so glad you are here. So like I said, if you're new, just drop in new. We've got Corsica. What a great name. Hey, Corsica. Good morning from Virginia. I'm actually in Virginia right now, staying at with my dad. My dad is 95 years old. And unfortunately he's begun to slow down a little bit. I know 95. I hope I make it to 95. Anna, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We have Paul. Yay. Good morning, Paul. Glad you're here. For those of you that are new and you're like, why in the world am I here? Let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Garst. Basically, I'm an online business strategist, but I think, thing that I love to do the most is really help people create more revenue in their business. So I'm all about the business end of social media in particular. How do you generate revenue with it? And so if you are interested in that, then you are in the right place, because we're going to be talking with our special guest today, specifically about LinkedIn, and how you can use it in this crazy time that we're in right now. So let me introduce you guys to her. Are you ready? So rub your hands together because she's a goodie. Viveka has been a longtime friend of mine. I think we initially met perhaps at Social Media Marketing World like years ago, like in one of the very first ones. But she's the co-founder and chief visibility officer of Vingresso. I think I'm saying that correctly. It's the world's largest digital sales transformation company. So guess what? She's all about the money too. She loves helping people make money. She is known as the LinkedIn expert. She's the author of the best-selling LinkedIn Marketing an Hour a Day and LinkedIn 101 Ways to Rock Your Personal Brand. So I told you guys she was a LinkedIn expert. She is a contributing expert to several of LinkedIn's official blogs and guides, and is often called on to contribute to publications like Fast Company, Forbes, Money, Selling Power, Entrepreneur, and Social Media Examiner, etc. And when she's not doing that, she's either diving or hang gliding or hiking the trails near her Colorado home. And she lives in a castle in Colorado, by the way. So she is got it going on. So put your hands together. Yay! Welcome, Viveka.
Hey, how are you this morning?
I am good. How are you? I know it's a little earlier out there. You're what, mountain time?
Yeah, we're mountain time, hence the bags under the eyes.
Oh no, you look beautiful. You look beautiful. So how are you in all of this crazy time that we're going through right now? How are you managing?
Pretty well. I mean, the business, we're kind of set up for a situation like this. So we've been virtual since day one. We're all over the world. But it's interesting. I'm very much a react to crisis type person. But the ongoing day after day, you know, things are still going on. That part's a little harder, but at least the business is absolutely set up for people who are, suddenly having to work at home, prospect at home, build their business at home. Um, so that at least has worked out pretty well.
Well, so I always ask, well, not always, but I love to know, like, what do you miss the most? And what are you going to do the first thing when you feel safe to do something? I mean, what is that going to look like for you?
Yeah, I think what I miss the most is my husband going on his business trips. No, I'm just kidding. It's people, of course. It's people. It's being able to give hugs. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm starting to have those dreams where, I'm out in public again and I'm shaking hands, and then, in my dream, I'm like, oh my God, we're not allowed to touch, and it's such an interesting time. But yeah, I just meet people, even if I have to sit or stand, 6 feet away to say hi. And I love video, and I love the ability to do things like this and to see my friends on Zoom and on all the other platforms out there. But I just miss seeing people and my grandson and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely the hardest part, is not having that touch point, the physical touch point with people. And I think we've been craving that anyway. So
Yeah.
it just forced us, well, even just within the family units, like, I'm seeing so much more like connection, with families. And people are getting creative even with the fact that they can't
Yeah.
see one another in person, which I think is really clever. I noticed on Facebook just this morning where they had the small town in Missouri. They had a graduation, and people lined
Yeah.
the streets, and then literally lined the streets with their signs, congratulations, congratulations, and then all the seniors kind of went through in their cars. Definitely different than walking across the stage, but still, I think that was so clever and creative and a way to, acknowledge the fact that they're missing out on a life event, a major life event.
A major
So I
life
thought that
event.
was a major life
Yeah,
event.
that
Yeah.
they worked for so many years, and
Yes.
to have it taken away from them. And yeah, you think about those major life events like weddings, funerals, graduations, and what I love about human beings is we figure out a way, whether it's a graduation parade or a Zoom wedding, or a friend of mine had one of those. So it's we do what we have to do. I'm kind of laughing. You've got your father's 95, mine's 93, still alive. And I got him on FaceTime the other day. So that was pretty impressive. He's staying with some friends of ours in South Carolina, and we got him on FaceTime, and I was allowed, I was able to show him the house and the work that we're doing. So even if our 90-year-old parents can figure out technology, there's no excuse for us not to be connecting with people.
Amen, right? Amen. And I think now's even a better time than ever to really be focused on connecting. I have been using this hashtag stay connected because, people are craving it, one. And so from a business perspective, it's such a great time to leverage it if we do it correctly, which is, let's start talking about LinkedIn a little bit because
Yeah.
so share a little bit about how you started with LinkedIn. Like, what was that journey like? And when you got started on social media, like, was it like magnet? Like, hey, I want LinkedIn as my, as my expertise. How did that evolve for you?
Well, it was pretty easy for me because there was no such thing as social media, really. I mean, I guess there was MySpace when LinkedIn started out. And so I got started on LinkedIn pretty early in 2006. I was introduced to it during a networking event, actually, a friend of mine was doing. So there wasn't, there was a Facebook, but it wasn't really open to the public, and it wasn't, it certainly wasn't being used for business yet. Twitter didn't exist. So it was kind of LinkedIn or nothing. Now, having said that, it was also perfectly aligned to what I was doing at the time, running a co-share space, a business office, and bringing people in and educating and networking. We doubled the business in a year doing face networking. So this thing called in really fit into that, that marketing scenario. And then of course, Facebook, just about the same time that I got started on LinkedIn, Facebook exploded, and you and Mari and Andrea Vall and all of those folks. And really what I love and have always loved about this industry is it's so supportive. I mean, going how I miss social media marketing world. I'm so glad I went this year and saw you so much there. Um, but one of the things that I've always been amazed at is how supportive and collaborative this whole community is. From day one, I remember sitting at my parents' house in South Carolina doing a webinar, before we really understood how to do webinars with Murray Smith, like, probably 2008 or something like that. And all along, it's been such a supportive industry. So I'm just really grateful to be in it. But yeah, I just kind of got started, and that's LinkedIn's always been my comfort place, but it's also where our audience is. So, phew, thank goodness.
So I know a lot of people are not as attracted to LinkedIn, and I would say I was one of those people. I'm
Yeah.
like I would log in periodically, and so I understand you got started there. But what really attracted you to it in the early days? I mean, was it just because you felt like it was more in alignment with the business model you had at the time?
Yeah, for me, it was just kind of a natural extension. I didn't think of it as social networking tool. I thought of it as a business tool, a marketing tool, and continue to think of it that way. But it was just such a natural progression from what I was doing with face-to-face networking anyway. And what I always loved about it was, LinkedIn focuses on your brand and then on your engagement. It's very much about build your profile and then start engaging with your audience through the timeline. Whereas everything else, I mean, I don't know, every other tool out there, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, is really focused on the timeline, but doesn't give. I mean, you have all the features of a profile, but no one really does anything with it. And so, for those people in business who really want to build their brand or change their brand, um, I always felt like LinkedIn was such a great place to start because you can create a whole new brand, you can refine your brand, and with Google, if you Google in someone's name, LinkedIn profile is going to show up first. So even newer people to business or entrepreneurs who hadn't quite formulated or invested in a website, they could still create that strong personal brand on LinkedIn. And then, of course, through the ages, LinkedIn has brought in some, you know. they're always a year or two behind Facebook, but they've brought in some pretty good sharing content tools like finally LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Native Video, updates, things like that. They're a little slow to the starting gate, but once they have it, if business people know how to use those quote marketing functions, they can be really, really successful on LinkedIn. And so it's just was such a natural progression for me. Also, I'm kind of graphically impaired. And so, I see all these beautiful Instagram, pages and stories and all these great graphics on Facebook. And I was just like, oh no, but for the first 12 years it was in existence, LinkedIn was very much text oriented. So as a graphically impaired person, I really appreciated that.
Yes, yes. So it's so funny you say that because LinkedIn has evolved, right? It
Yeah.
has absolutely. So, which leads me to like another question. Obviously, well, I've seen a lot of uptick in interest, and I'll be the first one to say my interest in LinkedIn has definitely, it might have been like down here, and now it's like up here. And I'll just share why I'm super excited about it and why it woke me up. And I'm like, I need to be there kind of thing. It was LinkedIn Live. What do you think is really giving LinkedIn some breathing new life into LinkedIn right now? Why are people like paying more attention? You've mentioned some new features. Is that what it is?
I think there's a combination of a lot of different things. First of all, since Microsoft purchased it, a lot of people were like, "Oh no, that's the end of LinkedIn." But Microsoft has really put a lot of technology and time and investment into LinkedIn, and it's I think that's where a lot of these new tools are coming from that may or may not have existed without the Microsoft purchase. They've opened it up a little bit too, while it's not it's still not open to third-party apps like some of the other socials out there. I feel like there's more alignment with all the other social networks in the types of features that it offers. So I think that's a big part of it. And I think another big part of it is the fact that it is business focused. I think every single one of us at some point or another is like, okay, enough Facebook. I can't deal with the trolls. I can't deal with, the politics. I can't deal with the self-proclaimed experts. I just can't deal with this anymore. And so, there's a natural progression after, it's like after eating too much sugar, you just feel like a salad. So after too much Facebook, you just maybe feel like some business interaction. So I think because it is so business focused, and people don't get on LinkedIn to play. Even I don't get on LinkedIn to play.
Mhm.
If you're on LinkedIn and if you're engaging on LinkedIn, it is for business. And so I think all of those things have made it once again, it's a popular tool for people to use.
Yeah.
But
And
again, it's more than
I,
social net. Oh,
no,
sorry.
go ahead. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
But I still think it's more than a social, network. It's a business tool for people to be using.
Mhm.
And it's
And I
free.
think that's what's really, and it's free.
Yeah.
So Shaniqua, LinkedIn is where I need to be building my brand and business starting now. Yes, I would totally agree. And it's not someplace you go. I think to Viveka's point where you're watching, you're looking for like fluff content, like your neighbor's kid had a birthday party and you find yourself sucked down that rabbit hole or looking at other people's photos that you're not even sure, why am I doing this? Like, why am I looking at this? And when you're on LinkedIn, you're there for business, and
Yeah.
I find that there's not as much, I'll just say it flat out, not as much crap content. The
Yeah.
content that's there is usually value based and it's not a bunch of photos I mean, there are some, and people are connecting on I would call it a relatable human to human basis, but
Yes.
there's still a lot more business focused content there than than you'll find on other social platforms.
Yeah.
And that said, if somebody is listening or watching and they haven't logged into their account lately, like 6 months or more, like
Yeah.
what would you suggest they do first? Obviously log in, but after they log in,
Yeah.
what would be the first thing you would recommend for them?
Yeah. So, because I mean, the first thing people go to is your profile, is your brand, or if they're looking at your engagement, simply hover over your name and skip back over to your brand. So you want to make sure, at least above the fold, that your LinkedIn profile looks good. So and even though I'm graphically impaired, the first thing that you should probably do is create it or make sure that your background image is up, that it is reflective of your brand, and that's just like you have on Facebook and Twitter and everything else, that banner behind, at the top of the profile, kind of behind your picture. Make sure that that's up and updated. And especially because we're in disruptive times right now, you might want to speak to that. I mean, right now we've got a hashtag we care, and we speak to the fact that we can still help you. We focus very much on sales professionals, so we can still help you fill your profile, fill your pipeline basically. And so we've got those background images. I recommend, depending on the size of your company and your resources, creating a couple different background images that you can change up every now and then. Certainly create one, like I said, that's reflective of the times that we're going through right now and how you can still help people if you can, and why people should be, continuing to do business with you in as simple a way as possible. But once this passes, hopefully soon, go back to business as usual. And then when there's holidays, you might put up a holiday banner. So you can really use that as a place of free marketing. And it's top of the page, it's top of the fold. It shows up on the mobile device, on tablets, and of course on your browser. So it's definitely worth creating that image. Now, if you don't have a marketing department to help you, there are tools like Canva. I don't know if Easil has something, maybe. There's
Yes, these are the
Fiverr.com where they'll actually create a background image for you. And if you just go to vengressobanner.com, that's one S in Vengresso, Vengreso banner.com. I've got a SlideShare presentation with all of the different sizes that you need for background images. So that's one of the first things that I would recommend you changing, because that's where the eye is going to go. Similarly, a lot of us are probably doing Zoom for the first time, or you're doing a lot more Zoom calls or WebEx calls than you ever have before. And so if your photo doesn't look like you, there's going to be a disconnect, right? People are not going to recognize you on Zoom if they've gotten to know you on LinkedIn or vice versa. So you want to make sure that you don't have to show the gray. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have to be 1000% authentic and show the gray that's growing out, but do make sure that you at least look like the image that you've got up there, and make sure that that picture is public, especially if you're in any kind of lead generation situation. If you're in sales, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of doing everything. You want to make sure that you look like yourself, so there's not a disconnect, which could cause a lack of trust. And what we want to do with our profiles, of course, is build that KLT, that know, like, and trust factor. So that's another thing, is just make sure you've got a more recent image. I'm so glad I had that photo shoot at Social Media World George Demantis before everything shut down. So I actually have a photo that looks like me. You want it in your professional headline, which is that section right underneath your name that usually says title at company. You might be looking for a new job. You might be using this time to create your own business, or you might already have your job, but you want to speak to your buyer with your whole LinkedIn profile, which includes that headline. So the formula we use, it's very simple. Who do you help? How do you help them? That's what it comes down to. Who do you help? How do you help them? And then if there's room, you can do your title at company. And here's a ninja trick. If you've got a mobile device, you can use up to 220 characters in the headline. So if you look at my headline, it's way more than the 120 and it's characters, not words, that you're allowed. But we speak to who we help, how we help them, where we help them, and then my title at company. So just those things, the banner, the new picture of you that looks like you, the professional headline that speaks to who you help and how you help them, just those three things can make a huge difference. And then with a little bit more time, you're going to want to build out your about or summary section to expand on who you help and how you help them. Because quite frankly, no one cares about you yet. Right? They care about themselves. They want to know, they're freaking out. Everything is kind of amplified right now. And so if you can speak to their point of pain, if you can speak to their needs or their wants or their desires, then you're going to grab them, right? Then you're going to grab their attention, and they're more likely to spend that time on your profile to read through, how you can help them and who else you've worked with in the past. And so that's one thing that can make a huge pivot. If people are like, oh, my resume is up there, I don't know what else to do. I uploaded my resume in 2007. Now what? You really want to make your LinkedIn profile almost more of a sales page, but it needs to be buyer centric. It needs to be focused on who your audience is, what their needs are, and how you help them. And then finally, there's a new featured section. And so you want to add media. Again, that's a resource for your audience that helps them with, maybe it's a blog post or a white paper or a YouTube video or a checklist. But whatever it is that you do, think about what could be a great resource that my audience would download right now, and maybe you feed them into your own marketing funnel that way. But what can I put in that feature section that will make me stand out from all my competitors, and that's going to be an excellent resource for my audience or for my network? And again, get them to stop on your profile, look at it, read it, download the media, and that, more than anything, will help to build that KLT, that know, like, and trust.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, one of the things I'm always telling people is on your photo, because you got to remember people are bringing that little box out into,
Yeah,
a real person's on the other side of that little box,
yeah,
so
exactly.
making sure that you really key in on your face, I think, is important, and
Yes.
a smile versus, you don't want to like be an old sourpuss, because who's going to connect with you if you're a sourpuss? Or put a photo of your dog or your cat up there. I have seen that done. No kidding. And
Yeah.
so, remember that people connect to people. I would also recommend you don't do a logo, because again, people are
Yeah.
going to connect, I think, to you. Right. So,
Yeah. Well, and it also
okay.
goes
So
against end use. Yeah. I say it
yeah,
also goes
yeah.
against LinkedIn's end user agreement to have a logo up there.
I didn't
So
know
don't do
that.
that.
Oh, wow. Learn
Yeah.
something new. I did not know that. Awesome. Now that really gives me that gives me like fodder, because so Latoya saying, I didn't know LinkedIn had all these new features. Certainly worth revisiting. Yeah, there's some uh, the other thing that I really would want to key in on, guys, is in your about area and all that. You got to remember that it's not about you at all. You're not selling you. You're selling the transformation that you give to people. So don't make it, oh, I did this, I did that, I did the other thing. It's really about your, how you serve, how you can help them. Because to
Yeah.
Viveka's point, they don't care about you yet. They care about them. And so I want to, just kind of add a little bit more to what she shared, because I think it's so value based, and understanding that we as marketers sometimes get wrapped up in ourselves. We try to sell
Exactly.
ourselves, and we're not selling ourselves. So the next thing, I normally deal with this, and I would say others do as well, is obviously if you fix some of your profile issues, even if you do the three things that Viveka really keyed in on, which is your timeline cover, or not, I guess it's not a timeline cover, that's
Background
a
image.
Facebook
Yeah.
term,
Yeah. Banner.
but your background image, your personal profile, and your headline. If you just fix those things, the next thing, more than likely, if you haven't been on LinkedIn in a while, you'll probably see that you have some LinkedIn connection requests. So you might want to go there and say, okay, so my question is, Viveka, do you accept every LinkedIn connection request? Are they all created equal? Or is there some
No.
sort of a system you should develop? Okay. Around, do you accept every connection request?
Yeah, great question. And I used to be like the first 4 or 5 years I was on LinkedIn, I was what was known as a lion or a LinkedIn open networker because my thinking then was, well, you never know. You never know who's going to be my next client. So I better accept everyone who invites me to connect. But of course, by that point, the scammers and the spammers had figured out LinkedIn too. So there were several princes and things like that, and marriage proposals. So no, not every invitation is created equally. Now, not it's not that everyone on LinkedIn is a spammer or a scammer, and it's not that even the people that you don't accept are all spammers or scammers. But LinkedIn's algorithm has changed, and so there's a couple things to point out. First of all, a reason a lot of people want to be connected to a lot of people is because, well, then there'll be more people seeing my stuff and I'll get more engagement and more visibility. But with LinkedIn's algorithm change, they actually uh, disperse or promote your content depending on how many people engage with it basically within the first hour of it going out. So it doesn't really matter if you've got a really big network or not. What matters is, do you have an engaged network? And they're not going to be engaged if they're not the ideal buyer persona of your content, because it won't be relevant to them. So of course they're not going to engage on it. And so it makes more sense now on LinkedIn to create content that's to a specific audience and relevant to them, but also when you are accepting invitations to connect, really going to their profile, making sure that they are a good prospect for you, that either you can help them or they can help you. And if that's the case, then yes, you can go ahead and accept the invitation. Not everyone customizes their invitation. You always should if you can, and the feedback or the pushback I get is, but you can't customize an invitation on your mobile device. But you actually can, but it's kind of hidden. So if you go to your mobile device and you find a prospect that you want to reach out to and connect with, there's three dots. Or it might say more depending on if you've got a Android or an iPhone. But either on the three dots or where it says more, if you click on that, you have the opportunity to personalize that invitation to connect. And I'm guilty of it. I'll go in, I'll be at a conference or something, and I'll meet someone, and I'll pull them up on my phone, and then the next thing you know, I've hit connect because I'm on my phone and I'm used to doing that on the browser, and it sent them the default invitation. I'm like, ah, but you can always just go back, same person, to their profile, click on the three dots, and retrospectively personalize that invitation to connect. So there's no excuse. And on my profile, I've changed it so I've got a follow button now instead of a connect button for a couple different reasons. I'm at my limit. I don't need any more connections necessarily, but I do want people to follow me for my for my LinkedIn lives. But similarly, if you do come across someone who's got a follow button, if you click on the more, you still can invite them to connect. So I'm absolutely happy to accept invitations, but they need to be personalized. At this point in the game, if it's not a personalized invitation, I usually just send a thank you for connecting. I'm at my limit. Here's some free resources. Have a good day type letter. Which brings
Mhm.
me to my next point. When people invite you to connect, you don't follow up with a buy my stuff, right? Or when you invite people to connect, don't follow up with a, hey, thanks for connecting, buy my stuff. And don't put them on your newsletter list without their permission. That's only going to piss people off. But do offer some value. We call it our PVC. So you always want to personalize your invitations or your response to an invitation. That's P for personalize. The V is add value. So you always want to share something that's of value, not a webinar that you're doing. That's still a sales pitch. But if you genuinely have a blog post, a PDF, a Word document, infographic, something that is of high value, you offer that through your messaging on LinkedIn. And then the C is call to action. So, you know, Please let me know what you think about this. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much for connecting. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. But you always want some kind of call to action at the end so you can keep that conversation and that relationship going.
Oh, I love that. And the personalized piece, I'm so guilty of it too. Usually I rely on people to request. I'm lazy, I know, but I usually rely on others to request. And then I used to do exactly what you did. I was one of the Lions members as well, accept
Yeah.
everybody, who knows, So one we didn't know, honestly. So Kevin says, "Hey Viveka, it's so good
Hey,
to see you. You
Kevin.
ladies are crushing it in the season. So question is for live streaming on LinkedIn, do you recommend streaming and building your personal profile first or your brand organization?" Such a great question. Hang
Yeah,
on, we'll
great
come right
question.
back to that. But I
Okay.
wanted to just quickly share that, please, guys, I'm just really begging you around this because nothing irritates me more than to get a request. I accept that connection request, and they immediately pitch me on their stuff. They haven't even bothered
Yeah.
to say hello. And it just really ticks me off. So please, please, please don't be that person. Do the work, because doing the work will
Yeah.
actually the next step is give value. It doesn't necessarily have to be even that. Just how can I help you? It's so great to
Yeah.
connect. Is there any way I can help? It doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, because a lot of times people still perceive that even value these days with,
Yeah.
okay, well, what are you trying to pitch me here? I haven't expressed an
Right.
interest in this. So you just need to just make sure you go into it with a pure heart, meaning you're truly interested in finding out how you can serve. So I just wanted to
Absolutely.
say that real quick because I think it matters, because it does.
It's
And
so, I
Vivica,
mean,
does it? Go ahead.
oh, sorry. Quality is so much more important than quantity on LinkedIn. And yeah, to your point, Kim, it's like if you can be genuine on LinkedIn, people can tell. And this is why you also don't want to automate. Please don't automate your LinkedIn. It goes against LinkedIn's end user agreement, and also it sucks. So don't automate your engagement on LinkedIn. I crack up because I get automated messages all the time, and they're so clearly automated. But my favorite was, "Dear Sir, I see that you're in the cleaning supplies business. If you want to generate leads or I don't even think they said conversations. If you want to generate leads like this, then you might want to check out our product." That was the invitation to connect. I was like, "I'm not a sir. I'm not in cleaning supplies. This clearly sucks, and no, I absolutely don't want to be part of this. And by the way, I'm going to turn you in." So you always want to have those authentic and real relationships, and you want to replicate real life. You wouldn't walk up to someone in real life and go, "Hey, my name's Viveka and you should totally buy my stuff," right? And shoving your business card in their face. You would get to know them first. Remember those days when we used to do conferences? Like if you saw someone that you wanted to connect with, you would see them. They're probably talking to other people. You kind of slide into the conversation. You walk up to them. You listen to what they're talking about. You kind of insert your own opinion. Eventually everyone else fades away and you're talking to the person that you want to talk to. And then at that point, you've earned the right to tell them your name at the very least, and maybe, who you are. And so we do the same thing on LinkedIn. You find that prospect on LinkedIn, you see if they're sharing any content, if they're sharing updates, that's the conversation that's going on. You see the engagement in those conversations, that's in the comments or the discussion area. You insert your own comments about their content, and then you say, "Hey, could I invite you to connect?" So you replicate what you do in real life on LinkedIn, but you always want to, if it's possible, it's not always possible, but if possible, you want to engage with your prospects first, your quality prospects first, on their own content that they're sharing, their own updates, their own articles, their own videos, their own lives. Build that top of mind awareness. And then when the time is right, send them an invitation to connect. But just going in blind and, "Hey, buy my stuff," you're, I guess if you if you, send out 1,000 invitations that way, you might get, 30 acceptance and maybe one piece of business out of it, but it also might restrict your account. So I go for quality over quantity every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's pull up that last question because it was a good question. I want to make sure that
Yeah.
we get that answered. Because for me, what spawned my renewed interest in LinkedIn was LinkedIn Live. And what I find fascinating about LinkedIn Live is the fact that it is the quality of the people there. To your point, they're business people. So the question is, Kevin says, for live streaming on LinkedIn, do you recommend streaming and building your personal profile first or your brand or your organization? Great question.
Yeah, really good question. 9 times out of 10 on LinkedIn, you want to focus on your personal brand first, because that's where you can best engage. You can now do lives from company pages. I will be honest with you, I still haven't seen one. I know that it's possible, but I still haven't seen one. Um, but it's the individual who's speaking. And so the nice thing about company page lives is I guess you could have other company members. Like I've got 3 other partners, so they all could come in and do a live a different day of the week. But I think for right now, as far as individual business owners, entrepreneurs, small businesses, the way to go is through the personal live. That's what I'm doing, both on Facebook and on LinkedIn. I'm doing through my personal profile, and that gets a lot more engagement in both cases than the company page, which our company page has respectable 8,000 followers. On LinkedIn, and I have no idea how many followers on Facebook, but I definitely get more engagement on the personal profile lives that I do. Great
Well, it's
question.
also it's yeah, it is a great question. On Facebook, for example, you're technically not supposed to do commerce on your personal profile on Facebook. So this is a
Right.
whole different dynamic. On LinkedIn, you're there for business. That's the first rule of thumb. So it gives you the opportunity to really leverage a personal profile, whereas on Facebook, for example, you can't do that. So I love
Yeah.
that you really focused on the personal profile. So, do you still have to apply to LinkedIn to go live? Yes, and it is. It does take time. I probably applied 7 or 8 times before I got it. You too,
Yep.
Vivica. Okay.
Yep.
I know some people who still haven't gotten it and have applied. I don't know, and will ask Vivica in a moment. I'll share what I did. I don't know if it mattered, because they don't tell us what they're looking for. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I did is I updated my profile and then I started sharing video content on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And so, what is that? What you would recommend as well, Vivica? Is maybe to bring awareness?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
100%. So yeah, 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 100%. You want to show them that you're able to do live. So if you don't have access to LinkedIn Live, or if you're applying for LinkedIn Live, but you're doing Instagram Lives, Facebook Lives, YouTube Lives, then for sure, and you'll have the opportunity to share those lives, those URLs, in your application. So absolutely 100% do some lives somewhere else and show them that you can do that. If you don't have any lives, because honestly, I wasn't doing lives. I did a ton of video, but not a lot of lives. So then I showed my videos that I did. I'm pretty sure LinkedIn hates me. And honestly, I think the only reason I got LinkedIn Live is because I'm a LinkedIn Learning author and I had to have access to it for my next course that I'm doing with them. But I think most other people will have better luck. But to Kim's, want to apply more than once. Like, don't just think it's one and done. If it doesn't work, apply the next month and the next month and the next month. Keep applying. It kind of brings your application back up to the top. And don't. I made the mistake because I'm a LinkedIn expert. Literally, my Twitter handle and my LinkedIn handle, my Facebook handle, my YouTube handle is LinkedIn expert. So here I am, a LinkedIn expert on LinkedIn, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn. But LinkedIn doesn't actually want you to talk about LinkedIn, so that is not a selling point. They actually say, don't go meta, don't be talking about LinkedIn on LinkedIn, which I do, of course, but I got it now. So don't talk about how you're going to talk about LinkedIn when you apply for it. Talk about what you have in mind for your business. Just don't mention the fact LinkedIn at all. And then have a strategy. Let them know that, like, I plan on having a, every Tuesday or every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I plan on having a live show, like I've been doing on Facebook, and I plan on having these guests, and I plan on talking about this. So have a strategy. They don't want people who are just going to grab the live and show up whenever. They want people who have almost like TV shows that, regular time, regular place. And that will not only help you get the LinkedIn live, but once you have live, that will help you. It'll set expectations and it'll help to drive a regular audience as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement 100%. It seemed like the more detail I gave them, the better. Because, honestly, after the seventh or eighth time of requesting access, I'm like, good Lord. But so Glenda is asking, oh, thank you, Glenda. Appreciate that. What camera and
Yes, thank
technology
you.
do you recommend for LinkedIn Live? So, right now, I'll just share mine and then Viveka
Yeah.
can share what she's doing. But right now, I don't have my normal setup because I'm visiting family. And so I'm literally using my laptop camera and the camera that's in my laptop,
That's
which
good.
on the flip side of normally I don't. I would normally have my DSL camera, and it's supposed to be better, right? Now I'm looking at this, I'm like, is it any better? The good news is that if it's not, I'll be able to tell people you don't need the fancy camera.
That's
And so yeah, that's basically what I'm using from a camera perspective. How about you, Vivica?
Yeah, I because I've got three screens and my laptop's over here. I don't use my laptop camera, so I use a Logitech 930, I think it is,
Yeah.
which I think they sold out of, but now they're building more because like everyone bought them. I think by far they're the best camera that you can use if you're going to buy an
Mhm.
external camera. I'm a Mac user, but I think the Logitech 930E works with everything and everyone. It's just a higher definition. So
Yeah.
that's the camera I use. I've got one that I even travel with. So yeah,
There's
it's a great little camera.
Logitech makes great cameras. There is a
Yeah.
one that's just a step up from the 930, and it's called a Logitech Brio, but you can
Yeah.
find them. They
Yeah.
actually produce like 4K quality resolution, evidently. But yeah, everything is
I
like
don't need
sold
that.
out.
I
You
don't want
probably
people to see all the
I
wrinkles.
know, yeah. Well, that's why you
Give
have
me
great
blur.
lighting,
Give me I'm gonna put Vaseline
right?
on mine.
Hey, maybe that's an idea. I hadn't thought about the Vaseline. That's a trick. So Roxanne says, can you speak to the new changes in LinkedIn events? Ooh, yeah, I'd like to know about that too.
Yeah. Yeah, so the biggest change is you can now promote, like, because there are no physical events, you can now promote online events. So LinkedIn was a little late to the game on that one. So if you've got webinars, LinkedIn Lives, etc., so that's great that they're synced that way. And if you've got a paid account, paid or not a paid account, if you've got a paid online summit, webinar, whatever, you can also use it for that, which is great because you can put the payment link in there too. So yay. Some ninja tricks. They give you a background image. They say it's 4-to-1, but actually whatever, if you've already created background images for your LinkedIn profile, they also work on the events. It fits in perfectly, as I discovered by magic the other day. You can upload a logo. That's one place you can upload a logo, or you can upload a picture of your face, just depending on what type of business you are for your event. You can absolutely add links to your webinar that you've got. And if you do LinkedIn Live, I don't know how well it actually works. I tried it for the first time on Friday. At least it kind of gives you a landing page. One of the downsides of LinkedIn Live is that you don't have like a landing page like you can do on Facebook. So up until this point, it's kind of like, well, hope you're on my hope you're on LinkedIn at 9:30 Eastern on Friday, or 9:30 Mountain on Fridays, and I hope you get that notification from me, because otherwise you're going to have no idea if I'm on live or not. So now with LinkedIn events, at least it's kind of gives a holder for it. I don't know if it actually works. Some people said yes, some people said no on Fridays, but at least it gives us a holder and a place to sync with our LinkedIn lives. But yeah, you can use it absolutely, whether you have a live or not. Most people have it by now. On the company page, you can do company events. It's under the admin, the admin. So you have to be an admin of your page. It's under that drop down. It's just second or third, I think, can't remember, but you can just check that. And on your personal profile, on the home page, not your profile, I'm sorry, on your personal LinkedIn, on the home page, but not on your profile page, on the left-hand side, on the left rail, you'll see like a bunch of hashtags and stuff like that. You'll also see events and a plus sign. So you have to click on that plus sign, and that will allow you to create your event. But yeah, some great new features, like thanks LinkedIn for making it also virtual events.
Yeah, that's just goes back to there's so much evolution, if you will, because
Yeah.
of COVID. People have had to fast track solutions for people to include the social platforms, which I think
Yes.
is amazing that they made those pivots and have even though they're not perfect yet, they've made the pivots and tried to accommodate for what's happening right now. So we're going to give the winners, and then I'm going to ask
Woo.
Viveka to share with you guys where you can find her because you need to find her. She's amazing, and you're going to want to connect with her. So, ring light winner number one, Jeffrey Hardwick. Congrats, Jeffrey.
Yay.
Jeffrey, if you'll go up, and I see you're here on Facebook, so if you'll go up to the message area right above of the live here, send message, and send us your mailing address so that we can get that out to you. We'll do that ASAP. All right. So that was the ring light
Cool.
winner. Who else? We've got the webcam cover winner is Thomas Anthony Comiskey. I hope I said that correctly. So Thomas, you're the winner. Again, same thing. If you can pop up to the little send message and send us your mailing address, we'll get that in the mail for you. And then we have three winners for Easil.com. So we need drum roll
Yay.
sound here. Who's
I
going
know.
to win? There you go.
Oops, I really.
All right. It's coming. It's coming.
There we
There we
go.
go. So Andrea Bailey, Diane Settle, and Shaniqua Wilson. I'm so glad you guys won. You guys got 3 months of Easil.com. Take advantage of it, guys. Easil.com also allows you to make LinkedIn covers, background images for LinkedIn, just like Canva. So go to kimgross.com/Easil, set up actually the winners. If you're not a winner, go there. If you're a winner, then go up to the send message and send us your email address, guys, and we'll get you set up. All right. So,
Awesome.
then, thank you so much for sharing your amazingness with us. So, where can people connect with you in the socials and other places? Where's a good place for people to connect?
Sure. So the easiest way to find me is if you just type LinkedIn expert into Google. My LinkedIn profile should be the first, second, or third thing that shows up. So always feel free to invite me to connect through LinkedIn. Always personalize the invitation. Remember, you have to click on more in order to get to the invite, or just send me a message and I'll invite you. But I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn. And then, of course, all my contact info there is there as well. So my phone number, my email, and then you can even book some time with me if you want. So just LinkedIn is the best place. You can also check out Vengreso, Vengreso. You can go to the About section to find out more about me, whatevs. But what I would recommend is you go to Vengreso/resources, where we have the PVC playbook that I talked about today. I think we still have to go to Vengreso banner to get that banner background image, but we've got a ton of free stuff there, podcasts, blog posts. There's 4 founders and we've got 27 employees. So there's just a ton of information on everything LinkedIn and social selling.
Excellent. Okay, guys, remember, go connect with Viveka because she is amazing. As you probably can tell, she is not only is she amazing, she knows her stuff, but she's just so much fun. We have so much fun every time. We do weird weird, crazy things, wear weird hair and
Wear
sunglasses
wigs.
and hats and wigs, and we just have the best time.
We
So
do.
always have a good time. You'll love her. She's got a wicked sense of humor, and yeah, you need to connect. All right. So thank you guys always for spending some time with us. We'll see you guys next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same time. Although I think there's more to that saying. It's just not flowing off my tongue. But you get the picture. We'll be here next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have a special guest, just like normal. And we'll see you then. Take care. God bless.